Oh man, what's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Alive. We're talking about wrestling. Um, I missed you guys. I know it's been a long time. I want to first talk about. I wanted to wait, but I'll just start talking because I want to spend at least about an hour and a half here. I do want to talk about my praying for Scott Hall's family. Everybody in the wrestling world is affected. Majority of people are affected by everything with Scott Hall being taken off life support. There's nothing confirmed yet, but praying for him now, praying for his family, praying for everybody affected. Also praying for Big E with the broken neck. He doesn't need surgery, but uh, sometimes the hardest road is the healing. Um, yeah, man, the weekend was a little bit, crazy. It put the wrestling world on notice. So, yeah, I just wanted to go live about that, about wrestling in general. And I just wanted to see if anybody else had like a conversation they wanted to talk to. I didn't write anything down. It wasn't anything that I had in mind. I just wanted to talk for a little bit because I did miss you guys. It's just we had to, that the weekend was full of sorrow. So, now it's just time to heal from the pain. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday. Outside of everything, is there any topics that we need to go over, we want to talk about, you want to do the FaceTime, want to go live about? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about some things as I'm waiting for a few more people to get on live. I see one person. I don't know who it is exactly. Thank you for coming for right now. I should have been more consistent on going live with wrestling and about like the topics. Man, I've been busy with a lot of stuff, a lot of things, a lot of blessings are coming my way. I don't want to say anything big, but it's something big. So like I said, I know it's a little early. Maybe I should do this later. I didn't want to do it later because I didn't want wife has to work later, and then I'll be with the baby. I just didn't want to be distracted. But I most likely got a lot of people at work. I already know C Red. He let me know that he'll be at work, and Kev said he'll be at work. And those two are the main guys outside of Atlas who really like talks and comments, and we have wrestling discussion. So it's understandable. Uh, what's this one person? I guess this is me. So, all right, stay on to like either the 8 or 10 minute mark. I might do this later. I gotta I'm off today, so I'll just probably just have someone watch some Mario while I go live. Because I know for sure C Red wants to talk about some things. All right, we got 3 people going in. What's going on? Let's talk about wrestling. Let's have a topic. Anything you guys want to talk about, we can discuss. We can talk about it, give opinions, give facts. What do y'all? What we doing today? What we doing at 12:11? What's going on, y'all? Somebody's watching. I want to say that's Kev. What's going on, Dave? What's going on, man? It's been a long time. I ain't hear from you. Hope everything is well. Booking Warlord back to C3. Look, I'm trying to get some things happening with C3. I've went live a couple times talking about it, about some of the videos, about the situation that happened. And, I had to fall back and take care of some other stuff as well. So, yeah, I'll hit you up about that. But yeah, I'm trying to get some things done right, and it's gonna work out. Everything will work out. God got me. God got us, bro. Trust me. And congratulations, by the way. I know I've told you that already. Congratulations. Mike Whiteside, White Mike. What's going on, brother? It's good to see you again. Say your current address on AEW, good, bad, and would you keep it the same? I personally like the flow they got going with it. What's going on, Steve? What's going on, Paragon? What's going on? Let me get to Mike first, and I'm going to try to go back. Paragon says, what's missing? All right, the state of AEW, for me personally, they're going in the right direction now. A lot of people are big on the pillars, which is Jungle Boy, Sammy, Darby, and MJF. And I think they are doing a great job with these guys being considered pillars. I mean, it took a while. There are some things that I do not like that they do, and it's like a oversaturation of factions. And I know a lot of people are very critical on them having a big roster, having a lot of people. And I think that they can do it right. I made a video about that, but I do think that it's a oversaturation of factions. So even now, was it Rampage? Jericho was the Inner Circle, and then the thing was Eddie Kingston, and then 2.0 and Danny Garcia came out, and now you have the Jericho Appreciation Society. So with Jericho, you went having the Inner Circle, and then the Pinnacle, who was a part of it, MJF, FTR Tully, they went and did their own thing, Wardlow. Then it was the Pinnacle, and then now deriving from Inner Circle is the JAS, and then they're doing the same thing with the middle fingers and stuff like that. It's a couple things. Man, another thing that I kind of like but don't like that they do is they do give their all on free TV. And when I say free TV, I'm not saying because it's cable that you have to pay for, but I do think that they give their all. You get your 450s, you get your big moves and stuff like that. And I do understand that they do not do pay-per-views every month like WWE does. But eventually it's okay, well, if y'all giving this and y'all doing this spectacular stuff, do I need to get the pay-per-view? Eventually, what are you going to top? How can you top that? That's what got WCW in trouble when they put Hogan and Goldberg on Monday Nitro instead of just building that up to being one of the biggest WCW matches of all times. Regardless of how we feel about Goldberg now, or even back then, how stiff or how robotic and how injury prone he was to other people, that was a big match at the time. So that's just a few things with it. I do think that some of the older veterans that are there, they are talking to these guys more, and I think they're taking it serious. But there are some moves and spots that I don't like, and I'm not upset when I see them because I know that's what they're going to do. So that's just something that I'm not really upset with. Some people get on here, I'm really upset, I'm really disappointed, but I'm just like I've said before, wrestling is subjective. So what do you expect? If you don't like a Young Bucks match and the Young Bucks come out, do not expect them to do anything different for what they want to do. That could be a good thing to some, and that can be a bad thing to others. I'm not surprised anymore. No diss to them. Going to Paragon, who says, Steve says, hold on. Yeah, right. They are diluting the best friends. Yeah. Even the best friends is now what? Orange Cassidy, Willer Yuta, Chuck Taylor, Danhausen. I think I said his name wrong. It's a lot of people. And don't get me wrong. I get what he's trying to do. I know that he's giving these guys a job. You get what I'm saying? He's giving these guys money, regardless if they're on Dark or if they come out and play on Rampage and Dynamite. So I get what he's trying to do. You know, as a booker and a promoter myself, I don't like saying to one person, hey, you got to sit out this show, or I don't have plans for you and stuff like that. So I do understand. But then again, you put yourself in a pickle with oversaturations, and then having a storyline you might have to cut short and you might have to end. See, Mike says, I agree. I think everything works fine with their arenas and promos for bigger pops. Eddie has been the biggest surprise for me. He knows how to work the crowd onto his side. And that's that can even go into Paragon's question about what's missing. Now, promos are a very good part in wrestling. And sometimes when you're talking to somebody and you want to be booked, they'll look at a 1-minute promo, then a 10-minute or 5-minute wrestling match. And I think with Eddie, regardless of how you feel about his wrestling style, you will listen to him because how he grabs the folks, how he talks to the folks, how he embraces the folks, regardless if he's a face or a heel. So that's one of those things. Eddie actually grew on me. I've heard of him. I've seen some of his work, especially in Impact. We won't talk about that. But Eddie is one of those guys. It's just like, oh, okay, all right, I'm going to show you guys this is me, this is who I am. And it seems like he's a legit person. So that's one thing I really do like about Eddie. With Paragon's question saying what's missing in wrestling today and right now, that goes into what I say about it being subjective, right? Now, when I say that, y'all know what it means, and I broke that down. But nowadays, there's no standards on what wrestling is, like on what's a true wrestling match. A couple years back, there were certain things certain wrestlers wouldn't do. And then now with internet and with podcasting and with FaceTime, a lot of people are doing it. A lot of codes are broken. A lot of things are broken. It's just like nobody cares. I just go out there and wrestle. You know, it's like not a protection in the business because anybody could like book a show, book a ring, and they can do something like that and then just have a show. You know, a lot of people weren't doing death matches at one point, or if it was something with blood, it was the end of the feud or something. I remember Atlas talked about that as well. He touched up on that. Now that's like normal for a wrestling match and stuff like that. I think with what's missing is sometimes it's build up. It's not just I win this match, you win this match, and then the third match. Like, where's the feeling? Where's the emotion for it? Because 9 times out of 10, sometimes it is predictable. Wrestling can be predictable. And with that, you'll be like, oh, okay, if this person beats this person the first match, and then the second person, they want a rematch, and then they beat an obstacle. You know, MJF gives obstacles. He gave, which is ironic, predictability. MJF beat Jericho, right? And then Jericho had to go through trials so he can go against MJF again. MJF's one of my favorite wrestlers on AEW, by the way. And then with CM Punk, MJF beat CM Punk. And then Punk had to go through an obstacle of a match or something like that. So it becomes predictable and stuff like that. And sometimes you got to make it your own. And I believe a lot of people don't make things their own. It's not just AEW. That's with like WWE. That's like with independent and everything. I think with a lot of these shows is a lot of these guys don't get opportunities to show that they can wrestle. You know, oh, okay, if this person is wrestling here and they do great and the crowd is great, and you know, there's no risk. The crowd is great. It's a full crowd. We're going to book that same match. It might not be the main event. It might be the co-main event, but they did a great job. And it's like a lot of people are scared because you do want to make money at the end of the day. You want to make money in this business. And a lot of people need to realize that, you know, sponsorships and TV deals and stuff like that, those are nice and everything like that, but you want to make money and you want to have a passion for it. You know, there's a lot of people that do wrestle that don't have passion. Now, I'm not going to sit here and point fingers at nobody or anything like that. It's just something that that's something that they do. And then that's just how they get paid. It's just how they put food on the table. It's just like a lot of things missing. It's just like nowadays you have to ask, what is a locker room? What is the locker room etiquette? A lot of people talk about respect the locker room, but well, what's going on in the locker room? A locker room is subjective. What kind of matches are going on? Or people coming in the back that aren't even part of the wrestling show? Or people are wrestling fan or kayfabe broken? Okay, I just cheated and beat this guy with an eye rake and a low blow, but now we're in line getting food because we're very hungry. Stuff like that. I'm not a perfect person, and I mess up and I do things I'm not supposed to do neither as well. And I'm 10 years in the business now, thank God for that. But it's just like some things I will catch myself. Hey, I'm not about to do this because, all right, I'm supposed to be angry at this person. So why am I standing by this person because he's selling merch, or I need to do something like that? It's just a way of a standard, and there's no standard because some of these standards are needed, and some of them was crazy. A lot of smaller guys used to get a lot of flack for being smaller guys, to the point to where a lot of people wouldn't give them a chance to do moves and anything like that. Now, now it's different now. And I see it even in AEW, is that like a lot of the smaller guys are like going over on the bigger guys. And that's like an old school concept. They used to call bigger guys dinosaurs. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, things have changed. Like I said, all kind of matches are happening. A lot of shows are happening, and then some of it is not. Some of it is the same, and some of it is not. What are things? I'm gonna ask you guys too. What are things that you feel like are missing as well? You gotta check out the show Heels with Stephen Amell. They brought up keeping kayfabe as well. Now, the fact that a scripted show, talks about wrestling and what needs to happen, that's just what it is. And like I said, I'm guilty of it myself. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I didn't take pictures with people that I'm supposed to hate or I'm supposed to dislike because they said something about my wife or they said something. Like, I've done this myself. But we're so used to social media as a business tool that we will break kayfabe to sell a shirt to somebody who hates us or something like that, or to take a picture or whatever like that. And I know a lot of people are upset when MJF curses at a kid or a fan, but you got to respect that he is respecting the business. If this is a guy we're really supposed to hate, why are we taking autograph? Why do we want an autograph from this guy? Why do we want to take a picture with this guy? When my wife was a heel, check out Heels episode 1. You might see a familiar face. The man is plugging himself. I'm gonna check it out. But I remember when my wife was a heel, and this is the funny part. Going into what I just said, people wanted her autograph, and she would write "Shay hates you," and people would get mad. And I remember one time somebody ripped off her section of where she signed. Well, funny. So I think that what happens is everyone has a Twitter account, everyone has Facebook, everyone has a YouTube, and what happens is, even if you mean good, you might not agree with how Sammy Guevara did his match. All of a sudden, people will think that you are a hater, or you might not like what Seth Rollins does, and you might think that somebody's going to think they're a hater because they're at a higher place than you. You can still do both, protect the biz and be a great heel. And I agree with you. OG, I agree with you. But nowadays, there's no limit to it, because I feel that a lot of people just, want to make money. We all want to eat. Like I said, we all want to eat with wrestling. We all want to make some money off of it and stuff like that. And it's like I said, with MJF, he does a great job, man. He went viral a lot of times when he took pictures with kids. I remember he was acting like he was taking a picture with the kid. He gave him a middle finger literally to the side of this kid's face. And then a lot of people got mad, and it got people riled up. Some people were really upset with what he did. But when you look at that as a wrestler and you know that this guy's a heel and you know this guy's a prick, it worked. It worked. Like I said, some people are heels when it's wrestling, but then when it's time to sell something, if you can sell something and be a heel, then that's good too. But it's all about how you put yourself out there, and it's all about how do you protect the business. Some people don't want to protect the business because they want to make money. So it's like, oh, okay, we'll do this and we'll do that. And that's in any company. TV shows, you're showing, back behind the scenes of what goes on. Oh, I don't really like this person. We're very cool at the end of the day. We're actually going to go and have a beer and stuff like that. And then you'll have a picture and stuff like that. I remember when I was booked against Mr. Hughes. And I was very young. And I wanted an autograph picture from him. And we were the main event. And I walked up to him, and he was whispering to me, but I couldn't hear what he said. And I was like, wait, what'd you say? He said, hey, man, it's kayfabe. Like, nah, man, you got to get away from this table. Because he was trying to make his money, but he was making it a certain way because he's supposed to hate me at the end of the day. Like, I shouldn't even be by there because I was trying to get my son an autograph too. But I understood that as soon as he said it, and I felt like I disrespected him, and I didn't really mean to disrespect him in that way, because as a person that feel like we can still bring this back, I should have knew better. Even though out of respect, he apologized. But yeah, you can't be a bad guy on screen without full second person. Randomly, but I think rebranding yourself is good. Apollo Crews, respect for me, really up there once he became a character in himself. Atlas says, the limit in the individual. The real life heel is the biz. Is MJF. Most workers have no idea what their role is. I say that too. I say that there's no role playing. And I don't think that a lot of people go to people like a Atlas or a C-Red or Willie and ask, what can I do to be better? What is my role? And some people don't want roles in wrestling companies. They just want to win. Or they feel like they're a superstar. They feel like they can do this and they can feel like they can do anything they want to do. Oh, snap. My camera messed up. Hold on, y'all. They said Will's fighting Mr. Hughes next month. Kill it, man. Do a great job. Do a great job. And it's like, these guys, these vets, they're here and they will help you. You don't have to go to a seminar where somebody, and I'm not, no shade to anybody that does them. That does them the right way. You could go to a seminar and then these people will just tell you the same thing they said the last time to somebody else. They have people that actually care about the business, and some still protect it to this day. And then they can actually have an open conversation like Atlas does, or C-Red or Willie, that can actually talk to you about it without exposing anything like that. So, the only real heel in the biz is. Yeah, he says Atlas says the only real heel in the biz is MJF. And yes, I mean, the way he did the promo with Punk and how he cried about how he left the business, that really showed range. Like, he's already showed range, right? But they really did show range, because even him being a heel, it made him likable for a fact, because there were a lot of people that were in their feelings when Punk left, like literally in their feelings. And a lot of people felt that. So then I remember people were debating, it wasn't me, were debating on if he is he turning face? Is he turning face? Is he a good guy? Oh, I like MJF now. He's my favorite wrestler. Like, a lot of people went that route. And then the following week he did what he did, and it all worked out leading up to the dog collar match. Say Mike says random, but I think rebranding yourself is good. Like Apollo Crews, his respect for me got up there once he became a character. Are you talking about the what is it? Is it a Nigerian character? Because I know that's his roots. Yeah. It's not funny, but it is, because some people don't like that he did that. Like, a lot of people felt like his accent, it was just unnecessary. And I'm like, if you can make it work, you have to make it work. With WWE, I do feel like a lot of them, they give them all kind of characters, and then they're not giving it their all because they don't believe in it. Now, I'm not saying it's their fault for not believing in a character, because WWE has done some crazy stuff to people, rebranding people, renaming people. It works sometimes, but then it doesn't work sometimes. So, yeah, you have to be believable at least. I mean, even the Nikki Ash thing, right? I know people started booing her, but you could tell she tried to do the best thing, because that was something that she wanted to do. Could have been done better? Yeah, in my opinion. They tried to capitalize on it with the superhero thing, and then they wound up turning her heel, going against Rhea Ripley. Atlas says a good heel knows how to manipulate your emotions, make you pop 1 minute and boo you the next. And that's what MJF does. And a lot of people, especially with the climate, is that a lot of people are drawn more to the heels, especially ones who say that they know the business. They're more drawn to the heels sometimes, to the fact that they like them and they want to they'll cheer for them and stuff like that. What MJF does is, regardless if people know the business or not, they hate him. or they put off the facade that they hate him. They want Punk to make him bleed in a dog collar match. They want Wardlow to get him eventually. They want something to happen to him in wrestling. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with wanting a good match and stuff like that. But I think even with the heel aspect of it, even with matches that are considered 5-star, some don't want to be the heel. Some want to really just wrestle, and then there's no heel aspects of it. And they're winning clean. So what does that do for the face that was supposed to give their all and could have been close to winning? It's all about how it's done, though. It can't just come out of nowhere sometimes. Well, actually, it can. If it has to make sense. You need to get people invested, though. You know what? I think that's true. That's true. If the heel can make you hate them so much that you buy a ticket for the next time they come around, or you buy a ticket because usually they tour near surrounding cities for where they're from, then they're doing a good job because you want somebody to take them out. I cannot stand them. Somebody has to get them. Oh, this person lost, he cheated, or he did them wrong, or he wasn't playing fair. So I'm going to buy a ticket to see that happen. Now, Miles Mercer, C3 Wrestling Champion, he did a great job with that, with everything that was going on last year when I was setting up with the shows and stuff like that. I've had people talk to me about that and about the next show and everything like that, and people were ready. Stuff happened. Unfortunately, we're doing something. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not telling you guys nothing. I love y'all. But those are the kind of things that are supposed to happen, to the fact that people want somebody to come, a face, a superhero, let's say it like that, to come and knock this person's block off. Literally, look at Dragon Ball Z. Frieza wasn't a horrible villain. Super Saiyan angle wouldn't be sad. Yeah, a lot of people were anticipating this Goku to be with the gold hair and everything like that because of how horrible Frieza was. Dude, WWE is a horrible example of any kind of modern wrestling product. No clear direction for anyone outside of Roman. Everyone else is disposable. The heel is the one that's supposed to be the draw. And like you said, I agree with the Roman thing as far as expendable. Like, I don't see anybody that's even being built up to take Roman down. Like, some people think Brock is going to win. I don't think Brock's going to win. I think Roman is going to unify the titles. You know, I don't even like the 2 title thing. I understand, one champ here, one champ there. But, yeah, I think Roman is that guy on WWE. I don't see anybody that they're like slowly building up at all because of how they booked him for the past few years. And I remember a lot of people didn't want to even see him on TV because they felt that his moves were repetitive. Everyone else is disposable. The heel is the one that's supposed to be the draw. So even like with Brock, I mean, a lot of people enjoying Brock because he has the ponytail and he has the cowboy hat and he's smiling and he's joking. And even when he was feuding with Bobby Lashley, the Bobby Who, and people were chanting that. So it's like Brock is the dude that could win because I believe he's beaten him before, but are we really going to think that like Brock is going to be out there with double? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know anything, but I think that Roman is going to take it. And after that, I don't think there's anybody, if he beats Brock, I don't see anybody that could really be at that spot that they were actually building up to go against Roman, to where everybody is like, hey, you know what? He's going to be the guy that's going to dethrone Roman because we hate Roman, but everybody loves Roman low-key. People forget Brock is a vet now, so he knows how to be a face or a heel. So, shoot, I'm trying to think, man. After Brock, who is it? Because even with AEW, right? See, and he's the worst example of a face. He does heel stuff and is supposed to be a face. Are you talking about Brock? He just done the opposite. Are you talking about Brock Atlas? But yeah, it's like, and that's actually a one up on AEW's front. Is okay. Well, we have Adam Page, right? And he's the AEW champion. And okay, he's talking about Brock. Yeah, Brock does some treacherous stuff, and it's just and it's just like, is it for face or heel value? Are they really? They're not really telling him certain things. They'll say, okay, we want you to do this, and he's gonna put his own spin on it. And that's a good and a bad thing, because he's done some scary things. I remember my bro, he was showing me when he was attacking the Usos a couple months ago, and one of them fell on their head, and that was like a scary situation. So it's like they put all their eggs in one basket on putting up this mega feud and greatest WrestleMania match of all time, that it doesn't matter who you cheer or who you boo for, because this is what they're putting all their money on. There's nobody after that feud, after WrestleMania, hopefully it ends, that could step up. With AEW, right, you have Adam Page. He's feuding now with Adam Cole, but then even after that, whoever wins that, you can always, which I would assume Adam Page, you can always have MJF step up when he does his thing with Wardlow. I will say that on the AEW front, it is like more well put together on who they can shift up to, who can challenge Adam Page for the championship. With WWE, I don't see it. I don't see it. It'll be a random battle royal or beat the clock challenge that'll be the next challenger. It's not somebody that can just come out unless they pay some older guy legend to come in. But yeah, there's nothing. Like with AEW, I will say that there are, another thing that I do like, there are pieces, interchangeable pieces that they can change and say, oh, okay, we can take Adam Cole out and we can have MJF feud with him, or we can have that. You know, they already having Page go against random guys that we know aren't going to beat. That's another topic. But as far as the main event scene, as in people feel like they deserve that, or they've been working hard, or they've been doing things. So, but yeah, as far as WWE, I can't tell you, because what, Roman's beating dang near everybody on the roster. So who? Braun Breaker? They're not going to do that. So like, what are they going to do? Like, most likely they are going to try to bring in another legend or something like that. That seems like what they've been doing that a lot. So going back to Mike, that is actually a good thing that I do like, because I'm like, oh, okay, Adam Page is won, so it might be MJF's time in the future that he may dethrone Page. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. Like, Brock is just going in and then just doing what he wants to. And then we're trying to say, is he a heel or a face? And then you have Paul Heyman, who flip-flops, but now he's with Roman, but then he can also be with Brock by the end of WrestleMania. That's like the only thing. He was a bigger heel during his deal with Bobby than Bobby was. The heel is supposed to be the threat. There's no threat for Brock as a face besides Roman, and there's no likable face besides Brock. They booked themselves into a corner. Because even with MVP, who I love as a character, it was just, the crowd was chanting for Bobby. Yeah, as I recall, at Royal Rumble, that's where they fought. They were chanting for Bobby. I think a lot of us were pulling for Bobby, despite the fact that Bobby was being a heel. And Bobby did nothing heelish but just talk. He didn't really do anything. And the heel thing happened when Roman attacked Brock. And then Bobby won. So, yeah. True. Yeah. That's true. The guy who we're supposed to cheer for, we're not cheering for, but it's a big fight because they're using his status as an athlete and what he did in UFC. What are they, like, how can you backdoor that? How? If this is supposed to be the underworking face that is supposed to win against Roman, how is it believable when he does do heel stuff and he acts like a heel, and it's not like he's taking it serious? It's not like a here comes the pain Brock. He's wearing cowboy hats. He's smiling. He's wearing Bill Cosby sweaters. He's cutting promos. Him, Lesnar of the Brock, is cutting promos. What do you do? What do you do? You're expecting a lot of money, which I'm sure they're going to get, because it is WrestleMania. You have people that stop watching wrestling, they will legit get Peacock, especially if it's a free subscription. and watch the show, because that's just something that people do. Sometimes it's a family tradition. There's a lot of wrestling that happens on that weekend. Everybody be safe on that weekend, or when you wrestle in general. So yeah, they really did book themselves into a corner, because if I was on a writing team, I'd definitely be scratching my head like, well, who's going to top who? Who is it? Who, these two dominant guys, like who is it? You know, you can't go back to certain people because they dang near beat everybody. Brock as well. Brock damn near beat everybody. So what can they do? And once again, I'm gonna say it one more time. AEW has done a great job as far as you can take somebody out and you can elevate them. He said they fired almost everyone that could face them, but they dang near beat the people that they fired too. So, you know, Braun was Braun at one point. You thought the man was unstoppable, but then he got fed to Brock Lesnar. And then when he won the Universal title, when he beat Goldberg, only because Roman wasn't feeling well, didn't really have a great reign when he was the Universal Champion. He was basically fed to Bray Wyatt, who was eventually, both of them were fed to Roman Reigns to top Roman Reigns' current Universal title run. So it's like, yeah, they did. You know, the thing about it is believability. So you would think like a guy that's Braun Strowman, regardless of how you feel of his moveset or how he looks or how he acts and stuff like that, you would think a guy like that could take down Roman or could take down Brock. But then when you feed him literally to these guys multiple times, why is that believable anymore? It's not believable. There's no way if I was a child, there was no way I'd be like, Braun Strowman is going to beat Roman or he's going to beat Brock, because Brock has beaten him multiple times, multi-man matches and singles matches. Roman's beaten him multiple times. Like, why was he? Because I'm trying to think of anybody else. I mean, with Aleister Black, I mean, he's a smaller guy. I don't see what, unless they like put the dark thing, if they actually took him serious, they could have did something with that. But I don't think they will put all their money on him to beat Roman or Brock. That's just how they just been booking and mismanaging a lot of people. You know, and I did feel like they were bogus for letting all those people go like that. But at the same time, those two people already cleared out your roster. And then with NXT 2.0, a lot of people are giving them a hard time about the situation. So about who's going to come up and be the next big thing. All right, Atlas. All right, I'm going to add you, Atlas. What's going on?
So we start talking about the business of professional wrestling, and we talk about how WWE has booked themselves to one of the biggest corners that I've ever seen in my entire life. You are completely correct. Now, if you look at the landscape of where WWE is right now, they have pretty much booked their entire last year around the proposed match between Roman and The Rock. That ain't gonna happen.
They said they can't hear you. I can kind of hear you. It's kind of squeaky though.
Let me go ahead and take this thing off here. It's probably my Bluetooth. Hold on.
Yeah, that's a lot better.
So they booked themselves into a complete corner over the last year as far as booking Roman versus a supposed program versus The Rock. So since The Rock's insurance company won't cover him to do this match, you don't have that. So now you have a whole company that has basically one face that ain't really a face, and then a heel champion that's like an uber heel. Oh, well, I might be. Am I getting an echo? Because I can actually hear myself now.
I'm going to try to cut my volume down a little bit.
Yeah, it might just be your value.
That's no better.
So look, I mean, so I think Cody Rhodes, if we want to go ahead and draw the correlation between what's going on with AEW and what's going on with WWE, the biggest thing of why Cody Rhodes decided to go back, wanting to go back to WWE, they threw their wallet. Now, why hasn't he debuted? Because no matter how Cody views himself, Vince will never view Cody in the light that Cody views himself. Vince will never view Cody as the Highlander or the pro wrestler as this ass clown was called. He's never going to see it that way. So the only way to make anyone a credible face in the modern WWE climate would be to have them beat Brock. Have them beat Brock, beat Roman. But you've already made these dudes so Teflon that they can't be beat. And even if you beat them, it means nothing at the end because they're going to have Brock come back and wash you out or have Roman come and wash you out. So the problem as itself is stale. When you have a climate that offers you no form of surprises, it becomes stale. That's what WWE is. It's stale as hell. Think about this. What's the last WrestleMania that you could think of that nobody was excited for?
You said that nobody was excited for?
Nobody is excited for. I can't tell not one person who's excited for anything that's on this current WrestleMania's card that's booked. Give me one outside of the Roman Brock program that they built towards within the last 6 months, within the last year.
Probably, if I had off the top of the head, probably the Becky and Belair.
And even still, Becky's not going to be at WrestleMania now because Becky's hurt.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew she was hurt. Okay, I didn't know that.
So even still, you book Becky and even still, they shitted on. Let's okay, you brought up Bianca Belair. That's my girl. You have a worker who is so amazing. They gave her so many different props. They gave her so many eliminations throughout the Women's Royal Rumble. Then you have her come back and job out to Becky, and then logically, that face is supposed to tear through the women's division. Nobody's supposed to be able to stop her. Nobody's. I mean, you like that logically, from a booking standpoint, is supposed to light a fire underneath her to have her tear through the entire division. What type of build-up have they done with Becky? I mean, with Bianca since then?
All they had her do was to win the title match was to win the Elimination Chamber. That was like the last thing. But other than that, they had her face Doudrop so many times. And she beat Doudrop so many times. And, Doudrop wasn't even a contender herself. But to cover that, they had Doudrop go against Becky at Royal Rumble in a match I don't think nobody really cared for. No offense to them, but hey.
They basically gave Ronda Rousey, who has no heat on her, who can't cut a promo for life. They gave Becky Bianca's heat because logically, after a loss to Becky to that degree, Bianca should have tore her ass through the women's division, all the way up into the Women's Royal Rumble, won the Women's Royal Rumble, and then made that main event bigger on the women's side at WrestleMania. Ronda Rousey winning the Royal Rumble did nothing for the women's division, did nothing to draw attention to the women's division, and did absolutely nothing for the main event at WrestleMania. You got somebody who's basically going to be a part-time worker who's going to show up, do a little bit of bring some focus to the company, and then bounce out like Nightcrawler. and it's not going to do anything for the business. Like, straight.
I agree.
Who's going to be your workhorse throughout the entire year? You got girls like her and Sasha Banks and everything else. You're not going to have any type of flow or any type of heat drawn to the women's division of WWE until Bayley comes back. And I bet you they find a way to fuck that up too.
I agree with you on that one. I agree with you on that one. I'm not excited. I'm not excited for Charlotte and Ronda. I think if they were going to do that, that should have happened a couple years back before they added Becky, because Becky did the man thing. But
right. Now, if they had Bianca versus Becky, that would have been something. If they would have had Doudrop versus Charlotte, that would have been something.
Yeah.
They changed that back from Doudrop to actually Piper Niven. Yeah, that would have been something. But you got all these workers, all these different ingredients that they've tried to throw into the mix, and it hasn't worked. And they're expecting, it's the actual definition of insanity. They are doing the same shit and expecting different results. We've seen this main event before. We've seen this everything that they've done. We've seen it before. Nothing on this WrestleMania card is any different than anything else that we've seen on SmackDown or Raw. So you expect people to buy a 2-night event for nothing that's new under the sun at all. You've had AEW that has had at least 3 pay-per-views that were of or better than WrestleMania quality over the last year. Revolution, WrestleMania quality. Punk's debut within AEW, WrestleMania quality. There is the difference between knowing how to book properly as opposed to throwing crap on the screen. Yeah, I mean, let's go back to the MJF example that you were using before. Using MJF as a control, okay? Model anybody else on the current WWE roster that actually represents themselves as a heel to that degree, that is able to A, tell a good story, B, manipulate your feelings to whereas you go on an emotional roller coaster, because once again, MJF ain't doing nothing new. MJF has gone completely back old school. Ric Flair did a match, one match, where he was a heel and a face in the exact same fucking match. The exact same fucking match. MJF is doing the exact same thing. So using MJF as a control, give me another person who's even remotely close in the WWE right now that is calls themselves a face. Or calls themselves a heel, I should say.
I don't see nobody close.
And that's
You got
a company that's 3 years old, a company that's over 50 years old, how it's done.
It's because WWE is more on trying to do box office content, and
well, if you look at AEW is pretty much has sold themselves as being. That's basically what their goal was to provide content. That's what they're there for. That's why they're trying to get the deal with HBO Max. But it's okay to be a content created company as long as the content that you're creating follows what professional wrestling is supposed to be. And unfortunately, Sean gonna do me. Sean boy somebody.
He get off at 5, and he wanted. He get off at 5. So
Yeah. But I'm just saying, you can't have. It's possible to have the premise of your company be different, because you have wrestling companies that are touring companies. WWE is a touring company. Their idea of where their product lies is within gaining maxed out stadium, within ticket sales, within merchandise sales, and everything else. AEW is completely different. Their business plan is, we are going to get as much content as we possibly can, and we're going to sell all our content. The workers themselves will make money through licensing and different things through that end, rather than the ticket sales or the media merchandise sales or different things like that. WWE is they're not doing it right. They're simply not doing it right, and they've created a product that no one is excited for. Give me one buzzworthy thing that WWE has done within the 6 months that's made you, as a wrestling fan, want to sit up and take notice.
I thought Bobby Lashley was good. Not trying to say trying to be like, oh, you're wrong, but
no. If I'm wrong, please tell me.
No. I'm not saying you're wrong or nothing, but at one point I did like the thing that they were doing with Bobby Lashley, with the Big E situation. It started off nice when he beat Bobby Lashley, I think, like twice. Mm-hmm. And then after that, he was losing.
So that's okay. So I loved Bobby Lashley when they had the Hurt Business. When Bobby first went over for the title, and the Hurt Business was together, and the Hurt Business was what the Bloodline is now.
Yeah, I agree.
They split up the Hurt Business for no reason,
and they brought them back. They're like together.
Then brought them back, and then split them up from Bobby, and then basically just have them jobbing. They're still the Hurt Business, but not the Hurt Business.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And I've heard many people begged them to break them up, and they still did. They didn't want them to even be together.
Yeah, you completely. That's like taking away the 4 horsemen from freaking Ric Flair. It's like you give a vehicle that's giving you boundless amounts of heel heat and ammunition for heel heat, and then you take away all the tools.
Yeah, and they can actually wrestle too. So yeah. It wasn't like they were carrying a certain person who couldn't wrestle. They all could wrestle. So yeah, Hurt Business was one of those ones that a lot of people, Hurt, yeah, they was filed for that one.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, they shitted on Big E's post title run to put him back with Kofi Kingston, break his neck, and now, I mean, is Xavier Woods even back? So I mean, they purposely stopped calling them the New Day because Xavier Woods was hurt, and then now Big E is hurt. So we still don't get the New Day at all. And the original plan of them wrestling the Usos again at WrestleMania for the 90 billionth time is not going to happen. So what do? Who do they have wrestling the damn Usos now at WrestleMania?
Nakamura, Boogs, whatever the dude name is, the dude who played the guitar.
And please don't get me started on that dude. So you get rid of Elias, who was a good example of a heel, and give him the whole same gimmick to Rick Boogs. And Elias ain't supposed to be nowhere. See, WWE fucks up everything else, and then they vilify guys with great potential. You had guys like, now, outside of the business, yeah, they may have had some flaws, but inside the business, great guys. You had fucking Enzo. They could have done something with.
Yeah, I like him.
because he rubbed people the wrong way backstage. They got rid of Enzo.
Yeah.
They had who else did they have? It was literally just on the tip of my tongue and I lost it. Enzo, Big Cass was garbage. Oh, Velveteen Dream. Okay. Now Velveteen Dream did get caught up in the whole Me Too thing just like Enzo did, but none of his stuff was proven or actually came out to be true. You basically destroy somebody that they had built up to be the next great heel for that company, and now you don't have anything else going on. NXT 2.0, your developmental system, basically non-existent. You got a guy who's basically using a Steiner gimmick, but you refuse to call him a Steiner?
Yeah, Braun Breaker. I heard it was
that type of stuff. So it's like they treat us like we're dumb. I'm not one of those wrestling fans, or even as a worker, that discounts the intelligence of the modern wrestling audience. If you discount them and make them believe that they're stupid or treat them like they're stupid, they're going to leave. Braun Breaker is a Steiner. They've got Scott Steiner's music going. They've got him barking like Rick. They got him wearing fucking the Steiner gear. They've got him using the Steiner recliner as a finish.
Yeah.
But we ain't gonna call him Steiner. No, we ain't gonna do that shit. We gonna do everything else but call him a Steiner. Why? Because the Steiner name was made in WCW and has bigger weight everywhere outside of WWE. And when they eventually release him, they don't want to give him any type of way to make a living for himself or anything else. So they're gonna call him Braun Breaker. Now he's gonna be.
You don't think they're gonna call him a Steiner when he goes to the main roster? I mean, Pete Dunne is.
So, if anything, they're gonna call him Larry. You know, when they go to the main roster, he's gonna be Larry, the superb athlete. Because he ain't gonna be a Steiner or anything else. He's gonna be Larry, the supreme athlete.
Everyone else has a name change when they get called up. Pete Dunne is now called Butch.
Mm-hmm. So now he's Larry, the supreme athlete. Yeah. Sorry, I'm disciplining my dog, who I just caught in the garbage.
No, you good. Do you think that WWE will never be the #1 wrestling company with like a lot of the issues that are happening? Do you think like AEW will catch up from a wrestling point or a business point? Because we know that WWE
from a business standpoint, nobody will ever catch WWE. Nobody, unless Vince dies and they legit make Nick Khan the boss. Vince is always going to be #1. WWE is always going to be #1.
Okay.
In the general public's eye. In the wrestling fans' eye, I think WWE has been #2 since AEW's debut.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because there hasn't been anything new in WWE. There hasn't been anything that has been remotely noteworthy, or they built anything substantial to compete with AEW's programming that's fresh. I don't see anything fresh coming from WWE. I haven't seen anything fresh coming from WWE. And from the way that they've dismantled their own roster, there's nothing. As somebody that has booked and ran shows and has plotted the course for a company, it is very hard to look at the current WWE landscape and try to plot out something that is going to be new, fresh, and entertaining for fans. Because everything, if you look at their landscape of where they are right now, who they have available, they're giving us the AJ Styles Edge match at WrestleMania. Nobody cares about that. They haven't built towards it. I guess Edge is a heel now.
I don't care, but only because it's new. Only because it's new. Like you're saying, going into actually making your point more valid because it's something new. But other than that,
when you have something new, it's supposed to mean something. You're supposed, all right, so you got two guys who are basically main event quality. And this is something I brought up to another guy who basically was wanting this match for WrestleMania. When you book a match that has something new that's not going anywhere, where are these two going afterwards? So they neither one of them are in title contention. Neither one of them are in any type of program closely related to any type of championship at all. No Intercontinental, no US, not even a tag match. You got a grudge match that's built on nothing. Afterwards, it's going to be built on nothing. They've given their secondary titles no attention and no focus throughout the entire year. And then you throw it on two workers. You throw your secondary titles on two workers that you basically shitted on the entire year. So much to the point where you were looking like, okay, Ricochet probably about to be gone. Ain't no fucking way Ricochet gonna be around. Oh, Finn Balor's probably gonna be gone. Ain't no way Finn Balor. And then throw secondary titles that don't mean nothing at all on either, and put them on both of them. Like, oh, there you go. Okay. I remember a time when the Intercontinental, SummerSlam was headlined one year by the Intercontinental title match. You had you had Mr. Perfect versus Bret Hart. That wasn't a freaking a WWE title match. That was for the Intercontinental title. That headlined the show. You had Macho Man Ricky Steamboat headline a show, stole a show, the ladder match. You basically have had your secondary titles be the workhorse titles for years. Then you take away the status of those workhorse titles and then shit on them for years. We hadn't even seen, when was the last time we had a credible program for the IC title since Big E dropped it to Apollo Crews?
It's been flip-flopping since. After Crews, it was Nakamura.
And Nakamura held it for months. Did nothing with it. Held it for months. And then he dropped it.
Yeah, and the Ricochet got it because Knoxville interfered in Zayn's match to set up their match for WrestleMania. So it was a bigger picture than the Intercontinental title. The WrestleMania.
And Johnny Knoxville was a bigger face or heel than anybody you had in the fucking company. Something's wrong with that.
I will say this though. I thought that they were. I don't know. I thought they were big on Damian Priest though. I wouldn't have thought he lost.
You would think. But once again, if they were big on somebody, you give them room to work. You give them people to work. You give them programs to work. You give them an opportunity to draw attention to themselves. Damian Priest had Cody's finish.
True.
Did shadow arrow shots into the air.
Or the archer.
That,
he was the Archer of Infamy.
And did nothing but,
what did
he do that was infamous? Right. Besides that, what did he do that was infamous? I liken that to Big Him and Big Swole. This is all she brought to the table. That looking like a goddamn frog.
For one point, Damian was. They did have a crowd reaction. He did have one.
Yes, he did have one, but it was a crowd reaction by coming out not doing anything. If you're not the type of okay, they tried to push Damian Priest like AEW is now pushing Hook. Hook is the modern Goldberg. Hook comes out, he don't do no interviews, he takes that business, he walk the fuck out. They tried to do Damian the same way and then give him personality, but his offense is not believable to a point where you be like, God damn, it didn't work.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
He is talented enough on the mic to even make you feel like even when he speaks, he's going to plug you in. There's nothing there. It's paper thin. So when you talk about the wrestling business, right, WWE would need, in order to, would basically, when they went, okay, my hopes was for when they did the day one was for them to go back and completely everything to literally like a day one type of situation. All the views are going to be new. The roster will be completely revamped. We'd be completely different direction. We have, different things to. They basically use day one as a jumping point to say, you know what? It's a new year to do the same old shit again.
yeah,
That's nothing for the business.
yeah, yeah.
It flabbergasts me that there are still workers or still guys right now that are hyped up about going to WWE. I mean, as a person of color, I would not ever want to work at WWE. That's me being black, Filipino, Mexican, anything other than white, because their track record has been tarnished for as long as I can remember. They've done nothing to change it. And then with you releasing over workers and think about, oh my God, think about the caliber of workers that the WWE have released within the last 2 years. And you would think and imagine if that roster by itself of the guys that they just released had a time to step or get some type of focus on WWE. Keith Lee doing some WWE, fucking Brock Lesnar. Keith Lee versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Yeah, I'd have bought a ticket for that shit.
Yeah. The crowd went crazy when they had their little spot in the Survivor Series. Like, I was like, oh, okay, well, shoot, Big E, Keith Lee is gonna go up, but he turned into a Bearcat.
All the guys that they really over the past year. When they let Miro go, that was your biggest secondary champion.
Yeah.
On the roster, that guy could have done anything, and they released him because he got over for himself. What?
Yeah, I thought he was gonna be a world champion. I ain't even gonna lie. I thought of all the people, I thought for sure Miro was going up there, especially how they had him beat Cena. He was beating Big Show, Sheamus, guys who were world champions before, and I thought, but
right. When you can't. WWE does not know how to make new stars. They've not made any new star, and the only they've tried to make that attention right now. There's two: Braun Breaker, who they were calling fucking signer, and Austin Theory, who can't buy if you put a fucking heater on his ass.
Who was the second person? Who was the second person?
Austin Theory.
Austin Theory. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, beyond that, you can't. They haven't made anybody new. They haven't done anything interesting. They haven't put any type of focus on anybody that's going to make you want to watch the product. Now, let's look on the other side on AEW. I bet you could think probably about maybe 5 or 6 new wrestlers that we haven't seen or haven't seen anything within the past year, 2 years, that are now at the top of the roster at AEW that you can see new shit from. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, MJF, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, The Acclaimed, 2.0, the Gun Boys, the fucking Gun Boys. Who else? I mean, that, and those are all new guys, all new workers, all guys that they can put in a new program. Shit, AEW was so smart. They destroyed the fucking Inner Circle just to go ahead and create a new version of the Inner Circle around new guys. That's fucking brilliant. WWE would have used that same program to break up the Inner Circle and then put a bunch of old established guys in that role, and that would have been it. AEW has seen that, okay, we can use these older guys to establish eyes to our product, but at the same point in time, we are still going to build up our new audience and our new product around these new guys. WWE hasn't done anything like that. I can guarantee if AEW put on a show next month and then or the next few months, half of the roster on the show is going to be some stuff you haven't seen before. They'll draw us in with matches like the Young Bucks versus FTR, or the Briscoes coming in and wrestling FTR, but you'll have matches where we'll have MJF versus Wardlow. That's coming. You'll have the Acclaimed climbing up the roster. I mean, those guys by themselves, they started out as a shitty ass Cena rap duo.
Yeah.
But they let Max Caster, once they went ahead and let that dude know, hey, don't say this or that, go out and do your heel shit. Max Caster is one of the fucking hottest young heels in the fucking business. I will go on YouTube right now just to look at Acclaimed shit, just to see what this motherfucker's gonna say in the rap shit. Because he gets heel pops like you wouldn't believe. Just on 3 minutes of saying shit.
When he wrestles on Dark, I will watch it. Usually I pass forward interest.
Dog. I stop. Pause. I pause and listen to see what these motherfuckers are gonna say. Because I'm like, that motherfucker's about to be good.
Kevin's in the chat. Appreciate the love, Kev. I'm trying. Kev. but no, I get what you're saying. And honestly, to be honest with you, I didn't see it even as Jericho Appreciation Society that's given 2.0 TV time, because I've always been critical. I've always been critical on them having a lot of factions or factions within factions and stuff like that. And I was like, they're trying to get these people paid, and they're also trying to give them TV time as well. You can watch them here, you can watch them on TBS, or you can watch them on Dark and stuff like that. So, when you make it more, you said it better than I can say it. You get what I'm saying? So from the outside looking in, that, all right, 2.0, those guys were in NXT, got released, and then now they're with Jericho. And I understand that. I understand that aspect of it.
Man, think about how many guys got released from WWE because creators couldn't come up with anything for them, and then they get released to AEW, and then have been not only have found something creative to fucking do with them, have flourished in that environment. Based on that alone, I would fire my whole writing team in WWE. I fired every last one of them motherfuckers. Every last one. So you basically release all these fucking to the guy who thought Keith Lee as Bearcat would be a good idea. I'd run that motherfucker out on the damn rail.
Yeah, somebody said that they probably were just trying to embarrass him because they didn't like certain things of him. So that's why
They
they
didn't
did the
like the fact that Keith Lee was a articulate black man who didn't come out doing the regular shit they would have you do if you were black. Keith Lee is one of those guys that he's intimidating, but he's intimidating because he's soft-spoken, he's big, and he's fucking articulate. He's going to tell you with no shape, form, or fashion, without any doubt of what he's going to do. He's going to sound eloquent as he does it. WWE does not know how to do anything with eloquent Negroes. Negroes have one route in WWE. Bobby Lashley is the eloquent Negro. But look at the way they booked him with on the heel steps. They've had him bucking his eyes, trying to talk tough. Go back to Bobby Lashley's original ECW.
Yeah, I get what you saying. Yeah, I've said it though. I've said like, all right, cool. We won in big belts. They win in big belts, but it's like they're not in the main event stage. As in, they'll lose the belt and then go back and feud for a secondary title or a tag title or something like that. There's not like a Rollins who can go for this title, then come back and be a main event or considered a top star, even if not having the title. And
because they don't do anything with their title runs. I mean, think about, okay, let's compare title runs, and this is something that was big for me, and one of the main reasons why I still have with Windy City Pro Wrestling. We go back to a local standpoint. Willie the Bomb Brandon was the first heavyweight champion for Windy City Pro Wrestling. For the entire time Windy City Pro Wrestling was in operation, their heavyweight title was a standpoint of what the epitome of what it was supposed to be in Windy City Pro Wrestling. They also had a secondary title, which was their league title, which basically was everybody else wrestled for. But the heavyweight title was supposed to be the shit. When Mike Anthony had it, it was the shit. When Steve Boz had it, it was the shit. Everybody else, when they had the heavyweight title, it was the standpoint of the company. Up until Willie won it. When they had Willie win the title, all of a sudden, the heavyweight title became secondary to the league title. It lost focus in favor of the league title. Willie, at the time, was a better worker than everybody they had in the fucking company, including the fucking guy that trained. But because he was not the articulate, or because he was not what they thought the standpoint of that company should have been, they elevated a secondary title above. Sure, they gave him a title as saying, hey, we're not racist or whatever. We got a black heavyweight champion. But the focus became the league title. Same thing with WWE. For the entire duration of the WWF's time, the WWF title was the title. The WWF title, heavyweight title, was supposed to be the benchmark, the landmark for any title in professional wrestling. Until they gave it to a black man. Then all of a sudden, Roman Reigns and his Universal title is the biggest title in the company. Think about where the WWE title has been within the last year. For it to be their biggest belt, they've had it on Big E. They gave Big E a shitty title run. They've had it on Bobby Lashley. They gave Bobby Lashley a shitty title run. They've basically jobbed out your two biggest, the two guys who were supposed to have lengthy time to drop it to Brock Lesnar to unify with a title that was supposed to be a secondary title, that being the Universal title, only to have Roman Reigns. And I do agree with you with this one too. Roman is going to unify those titles. Brock ain't beating Roman at WrestleMania. Roman is going to unify those titles. and he's going to be the Universal WWE Heavyweight Champion of the world, or whatever the fuck they call it. And they're going to absorb the WWE title inside the Universal title, and it's going to be a joke. Because your WWE champion should be the one winning everything. Your WWE champion, that's supposed to be your big belt. Whoever is holding that belt is supposed to be the face of the fucking company.
Most prestigious belt. Yeah.
And because of that, right. So, and because of that, you can't book anything with the secondary title, as a standpoint when you've built your history saying that this is supposed to be the benchmark. Didn't make no sense in Winter City. It don't make no sense in WWE. It don't make no sense, period.
I've noticed it. I've even when Bobby went against Brock at the Royal Rumble, how Roman threw the title after he hit Brock with it. I was like, oh, come on, man. Like, no, man. Like, that wasn't cool. To me, I already knew that the Universal title, they were already saying it was more important because Roman had it. But that just signified it to anybody else that the way he just threw the title, and then now you're fighting for that title you threw on the ground at WrestleMania.
I mean, shit, look at Roman's run with the Universal title. Roman has not lost that belt since he beat the damn Fiend for it. He's been the champion for, when was the last time we've seen more than a year title run for any champion in WWE? If they weren't going to go ahead and shoot this motherfucker through the roof. You give somebody...
CM Punk was the last one, I think.
Yeah, and then they shitted on him when he had a more than a year title run, and when it was time for WrestleMania to come around, and they wanted The Rock to have the title, hey, let's go ahead and get that belt off of Punk and put it on The Rock. Even then, the WWE title was still the benchmark. They had the World Heavyweight title around at the time, but they devalued Punk's title run by bringing in a damn part-timer who brought nothing to the product. It's the same thing with this Universal title run. You got Cowboy Brock coming in as the WWE champion who's flat out telling you, I don't want the belt, I don't care anything about the belt, but you're the fucking WWE champion. The whole title program is built around uniting these titles, and the title is all a secondary thought. So if the title is a secondary thought in the program, why do we even need a unification of two titles that are supposed to be a benchmark?
Why is he there? Why is he there? So no, but you're right. It's just I don't understand that logic. It doesn't, honestly, as a person who does watch both, it doesn't really make me like say to somebody, hey, you should watch this. This is interesting. If the champ doesn't even want to be the champ, doesn't care about
and that was me drawing it back to insulting the intelligence of your viewer. That is insulting as a viewer, as a fan, as someone who studied the business of professional wrestling, who's lived professional wrestling his entire life. It's insulting to go back and say, if you're looked at what titles have spoken in wrestling, to go back to look at this product now and say that, it don't really mean nothing. So what are we doing it for?
Right. Yeah, you got a point, because even kids, they want to see champions and they want to see people overcome and they want to see that fairy tale ending where the good guy, but then now you're at a point where the good guy doesn't even want to be the good guy, let alone have a title, going against a bad guy who wants the title more than a good guy. So no, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's like, okay. Some people,
I could even understand if they made Brock having the World Heavyweight title a stipulation as a part of, in order for him to get the match with Roman. But the fucker won a Royal Rumble. You won a Royal Rumble. You can pick whoever the fuck you wrestled against. Oh, no, before I go to the Royal Rumble, I'm going to go ahead and squash, your WWE champion out, win his belt too, and then go on to WrestleMania and wrestle for a title and I already got a title. But I don't care about that title. I just want to beat you up.
Yeah, that is crazy. You won the Royal Rumble, so you already have a match. So you don't even need that title, but you got the title, but you don't care for the title. you you like you are gonna have that you are gonna have that match anyway, title or not. But you went and got another title to unify a belt you don't even care for.
Don't you feel insulted? You just repeated the entire. Don't you feel insulted?
Yeah, that's kind of Hey, look, I don't agree with a lot of stuff, and that's definitely one. Because if that was the case, somebody else could have run the Royal Rumble. So
they were going to do that, and they knew that they were going to have a 2-night WrestleMania. The WWE title should have headlined night 1, and then Roman and Brock should have headlined night 2. If you already knew that you've already shitted on your WWE title, or whoever had the WWE title, now should have been the time to build that whole fucking thing back up. I understand fucking Bobby was hurt. He's got a shoulder injury and everything else. But if you were going to do something to where you had a 2-night show, like, I mean, even in Japan, when they have 2-night shows, one night is vocal around either a blood feud or one title, and the second night is built around their heavyweight title. You could have done that. Right now, for you to have 2 nights of WrestleMania and to look at the card and not think of anything that's going to be memorable and that makes you, as a wrestling fan, want to invest your hard-earned money not only on one night of 3-hour programming, but 2 nights back-to-back of 3-hour programming that don't amount to nothing, it's insulting. It's absolutely fucking insulting. We ain't gonna see nothing new. We ain't gonna experience anything new. That's just like saying that if we were in the Marvel universe and we had the Avengers, and Superman showed up in the fucking. It makes no sense. It's insulting. But
yeah.
As long as people keep looking at the shows or tricking themselves into thinking that this is the way the product is supposed to be, the WWE is never going to change. And that's the sad thing about it. Me as a wrestling fan, growing up and watching wrestling since I was 6 years old, I have literally taped and watched every episode of Monday Night Raw since it started coming on. Within the last year, I've completely stopped watching Raw.
Yeah.
I don't watch Raw. I don't even watch it in fast forward. If anything, I'll watch it on YouTube as a, this is what happened. But as far as watching that show, why am I watching? There's nothing new. There's nobody on the roster that gets me excited. There's nobody on the roster that's even remotely interesting. There's nobody on the roster that can talk. Why am I watching it?
I understand. I know there's a lot of people that are like that. They stop watching it. It's like you said, saying the same thing you said, and some of the stuff is very, very repetitive. And I see why a lot of people do go to AEW. And I know some people think I crap on AEW. I don't really crap on it. I just watch, both. But I get what you're saying. Even with the breakdown of the title, of how Brock in the title and stuff like that. But it's like when you honestly, when you see AEW, you can tell that a lot of these people want titles. They want to fight for the top title. It's not I'm going to throw this belt down or anything like that. So, yeah.
I mean, when you make that wins and losses mean something, when you have, I mean, even the psychological profile of having someone's win-loss record on the bottom of the screen when you're watching it makes you more invested in that particular match. So you could have a guy who's got a ridiculous record right now and be like, oh, this guy's a shit. Somebody who, you know what I'm saying, who ain't got a ridiculous record. And if that person goes over, it draws more attention to that because wins and losses actually mean something.
Yeah.
With WWE, you'd be lucky to get an actual real finish.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I get it. It's like, because I know a lot of people who don't watch wrestling, and basically they said the last show they watched was WWE, and they just didn't like everything that was going on. It didn't make them be happy to be a wrestling fan, and sometimes that's always a bad thing because that means you're losing money and you're losing business because something happened. You know, a lot of people stopped watching WWE when Punk left. You know, and then those same fans actually started watching AEW when they found out that Punk was back. So
I would say AEW's main weak point would be the fact that they have focused a lot of time on building new stuff. They have a ridiculously large roster. They have a ridiculously humongous roster. And as a whole, they found a way to use everybody to a good degree, but it doesn't draw in, like, say, for instance, somebody who's never watched wrestling or somebody who's not a particular fan of wrestling. If you don't know who CM Punk is, you don't know who Daniel Bryan is, if you don't know who Miro is or anything else, you're not going to be attracted to the AEW product because they are a wrestling company. WWE has found a way to draw in the layman's fan by bringing Johnny Knoxville in, Bad Bunny, or Bobby the fucking guy. I mean, anybody that's in.
To be fair, AEW's done it too, but not like them though. But AEW has done it. Rosario Dawson, the dude from Cobra Kai.
But they weren't advertised on the show. You didn't know that the Cobra Kai was going to be until you actually turned on the show. Like, hey, Cobra Kai.
Yeah, T-Pain. Yeah, you got to. Right. You're right.
The only time
right. It wasn't like
they done it twice. Yeah. They did it with Tyson and they did it with, and both times, I mean, with Tyson they did it the right way. With Shaq they did it the right way. I would have loved to see them come back and do something different with Shaq after they put his ass through a table. I would have liked that, but that's the way you use a star. Shit. You come into a wrestling company as a regular star, we putting your big ass through this fucking table. Give a fuck if you Shaq or not.
Yeah, but yeah, WWE, they're doing it with like some people I don't care for, like Logan Paul wrestling and Johnny Knoxville.
And Bad Bunny. What the fuck? Bad Bunny can do top rope spots? What? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, no, a lot of people were critical. Like, fan-wise, a lot of people were impressed with Bad Bunny, and I thought he did a good job. But from a worker standpoint, okay, this celebrity is working with workers and doing things he shouldn't be doing as a celebrity. So I know people gave him credit, but going into it, this guy was actually wrestling. You know, there's a thing of acting
that they've actually used as a star that surprised the fuck out of me was Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee's with Afro was phenomenal. From the mic work to the actual ring work to everything about that program was so good that they got Pat McAfee a job in WWE that they think they're going to be able to duplicate that with fucking Austin Theory and Pat McAfee. It ain't about to happen. I guarantee you right now, it ain't about to happen.
Just the crowd is just going to be behind Pat.
Yeah.
So, you know, to do the underdog thing, it can work on a WWE standard. You get what I'm saying?
But it's not going to work because they've taken their own formula bastardize their own formula and then try to go ahead and remix the shit, trying to keep up with AEW, supposedly trying to make things fresh. We're going to bring a whole bunch of new superstars. You know, Logan Paul, people want to see Logan Paul. No, they don't. People want to see Bad Bunny. Yeah. No, they don't. But
it's not like it's on free television. It's like on a subscription service that people would have to actually pay for if they really wanted to see Logan Paul, unless they already have it. And usually those don't bump up views or revenues or anything like that because
I ain't paying my good money to see Logan unless I know Logan Paul's getting ready to get pancake chair shot 4 times. That's the only way I'm going ahead and paying my money to go ahead and see a pay-per-view to see him, Bad Bunny, or anybody else doing anything in the ring.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's not happening for me.
I get what you're saying.
But I've taken up enough of your time, sir.
I appreciate
you for having me on. I'm about to go ahead and use this fly swatter to swat away these bad visions of the WWE product and hope that at WrestleMania, after WrestleMania, they remember that the WWE title is supposed to be their main title. And hope and pray that, that Xavier Woods wins the WWE title this year so that Brock Lesnar can squash him out and complete his trifecta, stealing all the titles from all the black dudes.
It's looking like that.
Dude, if you black and you win the title to WWE, don't be there and Brock Lesnar there, whether you The Rock, whether you Kofi Kingston,
Big E.
The only brothers that got away from Brock taking their titles was Mark Henry and Booker T, and that's only because they had the World Heavyweight title and not the WWE title.
Right, it was a secondary title.
If you black and you got the WWE title, Brock coming like a bad dream or a fight in the night, and he coming to take your shit.
The match might not even last long.
Guaranteed.
Hey, all right, I appreciate you all the time, man.
That's one to grow on, bro. I'm out.
All right, man. Peace. Oh man. All right, y'all. I gotta take care of my baby. I thank y'all for watching. Kev, man, we gotta get on live one of these days, man. Maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna hit you up. Yeah, we'll talk about the JAS thing and stuff like that because I did kind of cover that at the beginning of the live. And then also we covered a little bit of the oversaturation of wrestlers on AEW. I think you came in around that part. So we'll talk about that more. I appreciate y'all. A lot of people who talked on the live, commented on the live. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Take It Home Podcast. Also subscribe to the C3 Usman Wrestling channel on YouTube as well. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.